Okay.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Holloway Mack, and I am the instructional coach at Randolph Park Elementary School. The title of my presentation is Improving Third Grade Reading Scores on the Aspire Test at Wiggins Elementary School. I decided to use a fictitious name on my presentation. And the professor is Dr. Owens. Step 1, we identified the problem. And the problem is third grade students at Wiggins Elementary School are not proficient in reading skills as measured by required standardized tests, the Alabama Reading and Math Test, and the more recent ACT Aspire test. Let's look at the demographics of Wiggins Elementary School. Wiggins Elementary School is composed of 92% African American students, 6% white, and 2% Hispanics. We're located in Anniston, Alabama, and we're part of the Anniston City School System. We serve 279 students in grades pre-K through 5th grade, and we serve a low socioeconomic area in Anniston where 100% of the students receive free lunch. Let's look at the enrollment for 2015-16 school year. I broke it down by grade level, pre-K through 5th grade, the number of teachers and the number of students. Let's focus on 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, we see we have 2 teachers and it was 34 students. In 2012-13, that's when the 3rd graders took the Alabama Reading and Math Test. Let's look at the group. We broke it into the 3rd grade students, and we broke out the males and the females and poverty level. Okay? If the students scored in level 1, it means they do not meet the academic content standards. If they scored in level 2, it means they partially met the academic content standards. Level 3 means they met academic content standards, and level 4 means that they exceeded the academic content standards. So let's look at the level of students that scored in the proficiency levels 3s and 4s. We had 59% of our 3rd graders to score in level 3 and 4, and 41% to score in the not proficient scores. So when they took the Alabama Reading and Math Test, it was about half and half. Half was proficient, a little bit more than half was proficient, and a little bit less than half scored in the not proficient area. And we have to take in mind that the Alabama Reading and Math Test scores it's designed for the Alabama standards. These students was tested only on the Alabama content standards. Then in 2013-2014, a change occurred. The state of Alabama decided to let all students take the ACT Aspire test. Now this test, it tests us on a national range of skills. This is national-wide. And I agree with this ACT Aspire because we want our children to be able to compete nationally. Not only state level, but we want them to go above that, to compete with students nationally and also international. But the data shows that only 16% of our students scored in the proficiency level. Only 16%. And 84% scored in the not proficient area. When we looked at that data, we knew we're going to have to do something different. We need to put a plan in place that would increase our students' proficiency level on the ACT Aspire test. Okay? 2013-2014 school year went by. Now, we have the data from 2014 and 15 school year. And when we looked at the data, we see that it really was not a drastic change because we had not changed our instructions. We had not put a plan in place. The only thing we did, we sat down and we looked at the students, but we did not really put a mandatory plan in place that would help our students to meet these standards. Because you can see that in third grade, only 15% of the students scored in proficiency, in the level of proficiency, and only 85% still scored as not proficient. Who is this going to impact? Low test scores, who will it impact? First, we see that the stakeholders that this problem will impact will be our administrators, our teachers, students, parents, and the community. The administrators is going to have to spend numerous hours trying to implement a school improvement plan to tell us what we need to do in order to increase our test scores. And the teachers are going to have to spend more time after school implementing and revising and coming up with a plan and strategies that we're going to have to use in order to get our students to scoring higher to getting more students to score higher on the ACT Aspire. Students, I think it would impact their morale of the school. If you know that you're attending a failing school and everybody is talking negative about the school, then the morale of the students and of the faculty is going to be low. So it's going to impact them by having low morale. And the parents and the community. When I think about the community, I think about businesses. Will businesses want to come and relocate in an area where the school system is not, it has been labeled failing and is not producing college and career ready students? No. So that would impact our community because businesses will not want to come and relocate. In step 3, since we know that this is a problem, in step 3, we selected a representative committee to address the problem. On our committee, we know we needed our principal because we're going to need the principal's support in order to do whatever our solution to the problem would be. So we know we're going to need our principal's support. And we also put on this committee, me, the instructional coach. We chose 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade teachers. And of course, we was going to choose a special education teacher because she's familiar with struggling students and she has several strategies in order to help the struggling students. And we wanted a parent specialist. We wanted our parent specialists because in PTO meetings, we wanted our parent specialists to talk about the different things that's going on in the school. And this and our solution would be one of the things that she would express to the parents that we're doing in order to improve our scores on the ACT test. And we want a student to be there too also because we want the students to see what the teachers and the parents are going through when they are not performing, when they're not performing the way we feel that they should. Step 4, we identified limitations on the group's decision making. So we know whatever decision we made, we know that it was going to be some type of limitations on achieving our goal. So some of the limitations that we saw was students in our schools are very transit. Once we develop an IEP or an individual learning plan for a child, they may stay at our school 2-3 weeks, and then they may just get up and say, well, we're moving somewhere else now. So the kids are very transit. So when they're that way, it's hard to focus on remediating that child when they're in 2 weeks and out 3 weeks and in and out of the school. And we know that time is always a major factor in a teacher's life. We don't have time to implement everything we want to do. And to come in and have a new program implemented, that's going to be, teachers may resist. And we also need the cooperation of our teachers. So whatever we decide to do, we really need our teachers to be on board with it. And another limitation would be our finances. We don't have a lot of money. And so whatever we choose, we're going to know that it cannot be something that's going to be very costly. And another thing is our parents are undereducated parents that we're dealing with. So we may not need to count the parents in on so much support as far as homework and as far as helping the students at home. Step 5 is the criteria to measure our possible solutions. What are some of the things that we're going to need in order to measure our solutions? First, we're going to make sure that we monitor whatever we put in place. And the data must be collected so we can look at the data and make sure that the data is measuring everything, and make sure that the data measures what we need it to measure and that it is effective. And then each solution must be supported by a research-based program. We don't want to just go out and get any type of program. The program we really need is a research-based program to show us how to move students, to show us how to target the students' weak areas so that we can move these children to understanding and mastering the skills that they need. And also, that program should have components also to determine the effectiveness of the program. Step 6, generate proposed solutions. Okay, we all sat down and we came up with these 3 solutions. Our first solution is students that scored in levels 1s and 2s on the Aspire test. They will have mandatory RTI from 7 to 7:45 each morning with the teacher. Step 2 is mandatory biweekly grade level meetings will be held for teachers in grades 2nd through 4th grade. Whether they meet collectively or if they just want to meet on a grade level, it depends on them. But they will have to have bi-weekly grade level meetings, so they can sit down and discuss the weaknesses and the strengths that they're seeing in the students and whether remediation needs to focus more on. So we will have weekly meetings to discuss our next step for the students. And then we decided that we may need a professional learning community. We may establish that. And this year we have established our professional learning community, but we're going to tweak it a little bit to focus more on skills, on what skills students need to be taught in order to get them to reading on grade level. These solutions also support our mission and our vision statement, and that is to build lifelong learners through explicit instruction and effective professional development for teachers. So we know that our teachers are going to have to our teachers will need professional development in order for them to learn how to provide this explicit instructions that our children need, that our students will need. Okay? After we did the survey, we passed the survey out at a PTO meeting, and we collected the survey and gathered the data, and this is what we came up with. These are the results. Solution number 1 received 79% support of solution number 1. It was 15% in support of solution number 2 and 6% in support of solution number 3. Step 8, make a decision on our proposed solutions. After we collected the data and looked at it, we agreed with what we collected. That number 1, we needed mandatory RTI time in the mornings from 7 o'clock to 7:45 for our students that scored in levels 1s and 2s on that Aspire test. So mandatory RTI will be put in place. And number 2, mandatory bi-weekly grade level meetings for teachers in grades 2nd, 3rd, and 4th to discuss the weaknesses and the next steps that we need to put in place for the students. Step 9, implement the solution. This is what we decided this is how we decided to implement this solution. For solution number 1, we'll begin in August when school starts back, August in 2006, with our daily RTI from 7 to 7:45. We're going to start it when school starts back, maybe a week of introduction and a week of getting to know your students. But after that, we're going to start our RTI, because by then the ACT Aspire test for 2015-16 will be back. So we'll know what students that we're going to put in RTI. Our professional learning community started this year, but like I said, we're going to change it a little so we can focus on student skills and what skills we need to really focus on. So that's one thing that we're going to discuss in our professional learning community. And then we will have our bi-weekly grade level meetings. They will continue. Step 10, evaluate the implementation. We're going to have two ways to evaluate the implementation. We're going to have a summative assessment and formative assessment. In our summative assessment, of course, at the end of the school year, the Aspire test will be our major evaluation. But during the year, we're going to have STAR tests and our Scantron test to show us what students are, how students are progressing, and if we need to change what we're doing through those STAR reading tests and Scantron tests. But before we even get to the STAR reading and the Scantron test, during our bi-weekly grade level meetings, we're going to bring this type of information in the grade level meetings where it says exit slips, weekly tests, teachers' notes, and notes in the classroom. We're going to bring those things to our bi-weekly grade level meetings so we can discuss what went wrong or what went right or what strategy did you use, so I can try to use it if it's working for you. Those are some of the things that how we're going to evaluate our solutions. Then step 11, modify and adjust implementations. We're not just going to go through the whole year and not try to see if it's working. At this point in October, when school starts August, September, in October, we're going to call that a checkpoint month, where the committee is going to come back together and look at the data to see if we need to, maybe we might need to switch some children from this tutor or from this teacher to another teacher, because maybe they may have better strategies to show them how to achieve that skill. So we're going to have our checkpoint points in October and also in March, right before we give the ACT Aspire test again. The data from the STAR reading test will show us if we need to make some adjustments or some changes from the STAR reading and Scantron test. Also, the teacher's anecdotal notes. We're going to bring those notes in and discuss what the teachers see in certain students and how we can combat this problem that we're having. We're going to also have feedback from the teachers and the students to see if we need any modifications, if any modifications are needed. And also the last one, of course, is at the end of the year, Aspire test results. If that says that, hey, we increased at least 25 to 30% higher or 40% higher, then we know that those solutions worked. But our major evaluation would be the Aspire test results. These are my references. Thank you for your attention, and are there any questions?
Stop.